I saw somebody early talk about the Sascha Riley stuff. And I'm going to go on the big cam here while I say what I got to say. My spiel here. Because we did cover it a little bit yesterday. Okay. And I have a video that I'm almost done with that covered us looking at the website and stuff. Now, I got pinged. Okay. I got, like, my video got age restricted and demonetized and all of that. And I've seen other people copying this on YouTube, but for whatever, man, I don't know, dude. YouTube is making this hard for me to cover it. Now, I saw Hawk's video as well. Okay. I'm going to read something to you guys that I wrote today about this because I have been looking at some of this stuff. I have not listened to all of his tapes, but I've been looking into some of the background here and I have some reservations. Okay, I do. And this is coming to you as a sexual abuse survivor. Okay, I have reservations. And it's a lot of it is about the timeline, guys. Okay, and I'm going to read something and then we're going to look at what Hawk said too, because Hawk had some thoughts about this. Now, what I'm going to say is I have gotten some internal pressure from people I know to cover this story, but these are the same people that were going apeshit about that limo driver, and I had some serious reservations about the validity of that limo driver, and as soon as I watched a couple of his videos, it came to pass. Okay, now I'm going to read a tweet that I wrote today, okay, that basically exemplifies this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my timeline issues, okay? Now, all right, so here's the tweet I wrote today addressing this, all right? And I'm just going to bomb through this, but it is a good tweet, and I've been getting a fairly, like, reasonable response, okay? And here's what I said, okay? I said, I'm getting a lot of comments on YouTube about Sascha Riley's situation, and I want to chime in here to let you know where I'm at with this. When I first heard of these allegations, I did a cursory look, noticed his old photos. Even, last night on stream, I compared some old photos of my own from the same era. And of course, having been essayed myself back in the first grade by two F brothers, I felt a deeper, more personal connection to these allegations. Okay, we did take a look at the 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗹𝗀 site on stream and talked about it. My video got age restricted. I had to edit that portion out. But I plan on making a standalone vid where I can more carefully avoid some of the community guidelines triggering aspects of it. And that's the video I'm working on right now. However, one thing I haven't been able to shake is how my alarm bells went off when I was at 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗹𝗀's site about how we haven't even listened to the tapes yet, but her website was very light on any evidence or corroborating material, very heavy on a 10-paragraph disclaimer about truth and how questioning credibility is not allowed and that there is evidence out there if someone could get it, but she didn't appear to have any. And a line about how if you question their truth, you're demonic. And let me just say, as somebody who spent 15 years unraveling my own essay via body memories that I didn't understand when they first hit me, through meditation and therapy and eventually EMDR, I found her disclaimers on that site to be extraordinarily off-putting and like a huge warning sign, a huge red flag, because real truth does not need a framework of threatening if you question it. Real truth should be questioned. Its validity is found in the questioning, okay? Also, I've noticed that some of the comments on my YouTube regarding this feel super attacky and very QAnon-y, like, how dare you question this story? You shouldn't be covering anything but this. I mean, we're talking a rabid nature that feels very conspiracy theory, like, slanted, okay? And I said that bothers me too, because in the search for truth and to build a case to actually punish people and get justice for the victims, we need to verify things, and we need to make sure we are building a real case and not chasing wild conspiracy theories and false leads. Okay, things need to be examined and re-examined if we actually want to bring people to justice. And justice is really important to me. Okay, that being said, I haven't even listened to the tapes yet, and I have a weird feeling in my gut because some of the weird climate around the people connected to this and how they are behaving. I don't know if this person is telling the truth, and I want to believe the story, but boy, it went from like 0 to 100 with, films and all manner of stuff, right? While also saying they might not have proof, but the story is proof enough. And I don't know, their methodology does not feel super authentic to me out of the gate. And that's speaking as someone who spent more than a decade confronting my own very real abuse. Okay. Now, so I'm going to look into it like independently, and I'm not in a position to make any statement about whether things are true or not true. Like I said, I have not listened to the tapes yet. This was all just based on 𝗙ecie𝗹𝗹𝗀𝗀's presentation and her disclaimer, my initial look at Sascha's Twitter, how he's been disseminating this information, and some stuff about the timeline, which I'll go into after this. All right, I said, granted, everyone experiences abuse in their own way, and stories always find the light differently. But all I can go by is my internal reactions. And it was the same physical reactions in me that led me to uncover my own truth. And when I am seeking the truth in stories that I investigate, I do listen to those internal like warning bells. Those instincts, I look into it. That being said, if the story is true, it needs to get out there. And we need to do it so the accused are brought to justice. Now, if it's not true, we have to own that too, because I know we are all fearful of Trump and ICE in the future, and we want more than anything to bring him down from power, but we can't do that if we're chasing the wrong things, okay? Someone laid into me earlier saying, like, why would they make it up? And mind you, I had not even said anyone made it up, but guys, crazy shit happens, okay? Mothers poison their kids to get the sympathy of being a mother with a sick kid. Like, there's all kinds of like effed up stuff that people do as a result of trauma. Okay, so anything is possible. And again, I've not gone deep enough to know anything about it, but I'm going to approach it with a healthy skepticism that I approach my own abuse with, and I'm not going to apologize for that. And then it does seem very clear to me that Sascha has been abused. Okay, it's pretty clear he's been abused. But that doesn't mean that that story is true. And again, maybe it is, but I have thoughts on that in a minute. As we unpack allegations, look into the story, I need to see strong corroborating evidence, okay? Like we find with the hundreds of women, the victims that we already know of, okay? But I'm not going to submit to 𝗙ecie𝗹𝗹𝗀𝗀's requirement that I not question things or that I'm demonic, because that's ridiculous. If we're going to investigate this, we need to do it with due diligence and trusting our instincts. For me, it's the only way. And then I said, thank you for taking the time to read this. Here's a link to the tweet. It's a very long tweet. Now, let me tell you some of my main timeline issues with this, okay? Is guys, there are lawyers. There are well-known lawyers. Bradley Edwards, okay, Lisa Bloom. There are a number of lawyers that have been working on this case and representing survivors for 15 years, nearly 2 decades. Some of them are like 18 years. So there are lawyers, well-known lawyers that have been representing hundreds of victims, okay? That Sascha Riley could walk into any of those lawyers' offices with his information, with his proof, and be tapped in to the power source that is bringing Donald Trump down. And he forewent that. He did not make the choice to go to the most powerful legal representatives that could get him a settlement from the estate, that could unearth all of this shit. They have entire research teams working on this case. They've been pouring through depositions, checking facts. There's an apparatus, if his story is true, to prove it all and bring Donald Trump to justice. And he chose not to even take advantage of that. He went to some crazy conspiracy theory woman who wrote a very weird article, said part 2 was going to show us the map of the evidence. Part 2 never came out. I have a real problem with that, guys. Every single Epstein survivor has gone into this major legal system to bring their case to try and get justice. And this guy is not doing that. And that's a fucking problem for me, okay? That is a problem for me. He is trying to do like his own thing with the most outrageous allegations of everyone, and he is not taking advantage of the apparatus that could actually put Trump in jail. And dude, that's a massive red flag. And if you're overlooking that red flag, you got to ask yourself why you're doing this. If maybe it's because the story's coming from a man, you are feeling like it's hitting you in a different way of something, but there is something with him. There's a massive red flag with the way he is disseminating this information. And I went and looked at his Twitter, guys. Last night, I went to his Twitter all the way back to 2022, okay? And something is fucking up with this. Now, that being said, I think I'm going to let other people that are obsessed with this look into this, and I am going to stick more with the survivors that have lawyers, that are actually fighting in Congress, that are taking their stories to the streets and trying to get justice and not just create this like thing. Because if Sascha Riley, if that shit is true, go call Brad Edwards, go call Boys, go call Lisa Bloom, go call one of these lawyers with the top research teams in the entire fucking country and get them working for you and bring him to justice. But if you don't do that, then my suspicion is your shit is fake, because the only reason you would avoid those lawyers, and like, guys, they have finely tuned machines that research every detail of this case. And if he's not going to them, that's a huge problem for me, guys. There are mothers who literally poison their fucking kids so they get sympathy of having a sick kid. People do crazy shit, okay? People that have been traumatized or abused and are operating from trauma do crazy shit. But if he wants justice, he's not going about the way of getting it. He is going about the way of doing gossipy conspiracy shit. And my alarm bells are ringing. And I have been there. I am a survivor. So I do know a little something about like coming to terms with being abused. You know what I'm saying? And that's my thing, dude. If he called the lawyers and brought his case to their departments and they discovered all this shit, they would unpack it and we would all buy in. But nobody is going to believe any stories about this Epstein cycle that aren't becoming part of the legal research. There's 20 years of research on this case. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's not going about it. And guys, it reminds me of the shit that went on with that guy who was talking about Mike Johnson's Grindr. Remember that guy who was like, oh, afraid for my life, and he was making a TikTok and all that. But like, dude, he didn't have a lawyer sitting there with him. He didn't like to go to the fucking New York Times with this shit. And what's more though, guys, is there's an issue with the timeline. Like, in the beginning, this guy was like, in 2022, was starting to leak shit out on Twitter when there were like lawyers he could go to discuss this stuff. And this is not about Donald Trump. This is about the credibility of the person making these accusations, guys. Okay, if you make your accusations, he is definitely a victim of abuse. Absolutely a victim of horrific abuse. I don't doubt that. I know he was SA'd, and I know he suffered some really horrific abuse. What I am questioning is the validity of his abuse occurring in the Epstein world. That's the thing that I am questioning. And I think he might be grappling with some like bigger issues. And for me, guys, there are just too many red flags. Okay, so I mean, if you believe this shit, by all means, start a channel and go cover it. But there's too many red flags, guys. I am going to wait. And see what happens, because we have all these other victims. You know what I'm saying? We have all these other victims that, you know, are now survivors, that have lawyers, that have engaged this case for 20 years, that actually were part of the thing of bringing, you know, of getting Jeffrey Epstein arrested. and bringing this case into the fucking forefront. Okay. And so my thing is for me to buy into that Sascha Riley, he needs to get a lawyer, one of the lawyers that's been working on this case, and he needs to get corroboration and get some research done, because right now his shit is just alarm bells. And guys, I am a survivor. Okay. These are survivor alarm bells. Okay. I've been through this process. I know what like coming to terms with being abused looks like. And so for this, dude, there's just something about it. I went back. I suggest you guys go back. Go to his Twitter. Okay. His Twitter is at 𝗙cie𝗶𝗹𝗆𝗍. He goes by a different name, but you can scroll back on his Twitter. He didn't start his Twitter until 2022. And then he instantly started by like sharing his adoption papers and people's replies and shit. I mean, dude, this shit is fucking wacky. The way he's disseminated this information is like, he's not well, guys. And there's a reason why he went to like 𝗙𝗙𝗹𝗪𝗀 and is on that crazy website. And there's a reason why he didn't do video interviews. And there's a reason why he's not on CNN right now. And there's a reason why he didn't call Bradley Edwards or any of the other lawyers representing these huge, like hugely prevalent survivors. Okay. And I don't know what that reason is, but I'm sorry, like too many red flags, guys. So that's where I get off. I will look into it a little bit privately, but I'm telling you right now, guys, I don't think this is going to find much light of day, because he is definitely a victim. Like, I think he was like hugely traumatized. There's no doubt. But I also think he's grappling with some like hardcore shit. And again, you know, if he is, I challenge him to call Bradley Edwards. The survivors have worked with the lawyers and have actually like unearthed the evidence to prove their shit. And that's why this bill got passed in Congress. And there are some people that have made really big claims that have not done that process. And we have to question that. I mean, if we're going to get justice for the victims, you have to stick with the ones that are in the legal record, because somebody filing some crazy claims in civil court and then withdrawing it and never having lawyers investigate it and actually get depositions on all the people that they identify in their claims, they have no legal standing, and nobody's ever going to get arrested or get punished or get held accountable with that kind of shit. You have to go through the legal system. That's literally all we have. And the thing about like making these crazy claims and trying Donald Trump in the court of public opinion, none of that's going to matter, because his cult following's never going to believe it. Okay. So the thing is people, we are 20 years into this case. There's only one road now, guys. And no matter how new you are, if you have the case, if you have the proof, you need to call the lawyers that have established this thing, and you need to get in there. And if you're not doing it, then you have to ask them, why aren't they doing it? Because if you want justice, that's the way. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.